Hey guys, Chris the Bad Guy here, and today's video is about the Barracuda V2, and I'm very excited to make this video because I've made it more than once. I've actually made a lot of videos since I last uploaded, but my internet connection has been so bad that I've been struggling to upload them. I sincerely apologize to BBBarfly bottle openers for not making this video sooner, because I really have been trying. There's really not a proper excuse as to why I didn't keep trying to get it uploaded, but working 80 hours a week on average is a challenge to making battle song content, I will not lie, and it's just hard for me to want to do anything at the end of the day sometimes, so have mercy. But here it is now. Let's hope this one actually gets uploaded. Let's talk about the Barracuda V2. The Barracuda V2 is honestly a very interesting battle song in the market that you don't see a whole lot, because a lot of battle songs are very handle heavy. If we go, I only have BBBarfly products with me today. That's just all I got on hand at this very moment. But even compared to the Firefly, which is similar billet handles, it's a very handle-heavy battle song in comparison. There's a lot more media present. If you want to look at them more up close, you can see there's certainly a lot more meat taken off. And the other thing is that the blades are not the same length. The Barracuda has a longer blade. And that on top of the fact that, if you look at the insides of the channels on these battle songs, they basically go to the same length. But if I was to say, it looks like a little bit more materials taken out of the channel on the Barracuda. And the channel goes longer on the Barracuda. And on top of that, there's hardware instead of just solid aluminum there. So the handle's a lot more neutral. And this is a term I'm about to use that hasn't been heard by me in a while, but it's a very floaty battle song. Now, what does that mean? If a battle song is very floaty, it means that it's kind of neutral. It just doesn't really have an inclination to do anything unless you tell it to. Now, that's not very common in the battle song community. In fact, most battle songs, be it the Pro V2 with its brass spacers in the back, or same goes for the Superfly. These battle songs are pretty neutral weight all the way through, but they have weight at the end. And that just leads for a battle song that carries very well and will do anything you tell it to do very easily. I kind of think of it like a sports car. Like a nice luxury sporty kind of car. It can do a lot, but it's designed to comfortably do certain things pretty well. It's not just a pure performance device or like a Harley Davidson. It's not like something you're racing with. You can do some performance stuff with it, go long distances. You can do a lot of different things with it. It's very good at handling certain ways, but it's not a performance vehicle, and that goes for these battle songs that are mostly on the market. They're very comfortably able to do a lot of things, and they'll do basically anything if you do it pretty slowly, but it's not super comfortable to push the limits of battle song technique with them. Now, for me, I like a lot of rollovers, as you know, probably. I like a lot of just kind of, man, I haven't flipped behind a camera in a while. This is awkward. But it can do a lot in terms of carrying, because it'll just keep going and going. It's like the momentum never stops, and it always has the momentum to keep going until you tell it to stop. Now, how does that compare to a neutral, more floaty battle song? A more neutral, floaty battle song is, it almost feels like it always wants to stop, but that's kind of misleading to describe it that way. A floaty balisong doesn't want to keep going because it's not rear biased. It's very neutral, so it's very easy to push in a certain direction. So, on the contrary, at a rear heavy balisong, you get the weight moving and it keeps going. But it takes a little more effort to get the momentum started, depending on what you're doing. A neutral balisong is very easy to start. It's very easy going, but it takes more force to keep going. I just did a rollover on the bite handle thing right here. Now, these are nice because it gives you an indicator of which handle you're on. If the colors aren't good enough and you're just flipping blind, it lets you realize, oh, I would have cut myself if that was a real knife. But the benefit to being floaty is that you can change the direction of the knife with way less effort. So if you just wanted to sit right here and wanted to do any kind of ricocheting move, that is so much easier than doing that on a balisong like this. It, for one, beats your hands up more, which, if you got tough hands like me, that doesn't really bother you, but at the same time, it takes more effort, and it just kind of wears you out faster. Now, that's not a problem in the slightest, but it's not what it's designed to do. It's not meant to change directions. It's not like a sports bike or like a sports car, like an F1 car. And in my previous videos, I described those other knives like Lexuses. They're very comfortable. They're sporty. They can do a lot of different things. You can do a whole lot with them. But this balisong is like an F1 car. It just goes. It's very much able to stop and go on a whim. And for balisongs like this, especially ones that have longer blades and good length handles, there's just nothing that feels impossible to do. Like, you could do anything with this balisong that you could do with those, but it's going to be more comfortable even if it takes more effort. It's kind of hard to describe. But it's a very different kind of feel to what a lot of balisongs on the market are like. It's very interesting, but I really like it. And the fact that it's so floaty just makes it so much more of a competitive balisong. Like, this is the thing. This is more of a competitive flipper in my eyes. Like, the people that try to say, oh, this balisong is the best for competition purposes, yada, yada, yada. This is honestly one of the best balisongs to use for competition purposes alone, just because of how far it can be pushed. And on top of that, even if this was a live blade, this kind of balisong would be so much more comfortable to do things like power aerials, where you're throwing the knife up in the air super long distances, and you're doing multiple rotation aerials trying to catch it. Because, for one, you're not as nervous about the blade biting you because it's lighter, and this is a trainer, so it doesn't apply. But even though it is a trainer, it still hurts less to mess up doing a power aerial with a balisong like this than a heavier trainer. Something else, let's talk about the build quality. The build quality is superb as usual. It's 410 stainless steel on the blade. All the edges are rounded off. It's just a very high quality product. And it feels like they get more and more refined every time a new product releases, so great job on that part. The aluminum, I believe it's CNC machined and anodized before CNC'd in this case. And it's just a wonderful display of craftsmanship and engineering in my eyes. Also, this thing just sounds amazing. And something else I'll say is, if you like a whole lot of bounce, this balisong isn't going to provide you a whole lot of bounce. But back to the whole theme of performance, it's honestly perfect because it has bounce to an extent, but it's not overbearing. You know, you've seen on Instagram people pick up a balisong like an EX10 or something exotic like that, and they'll just flip it. It just has the most ridiculous amount of bounce you've ever seen, and it's like those, whatever, I think they're called snake eggs. They're like two magnets that are like an oval kind of 3D shape, and they they magnetize together and they make this sound, and it's just like mesmerizing. This isn't that, but it's a very high quality crafted ballad song that feels really nice to flip and doesn't like lose control doing things. And this ballad song is just really a performer, and I like that. It's designed. I don't know if that was the intention in mind when specifically designing the characteristics of this ballad song, but it flips very much like it was designed to be a performer. And I see people flip with these all the time. I see people flip with BBBarfly products all the time in general, and they're very good products, and I love them very dearly. And I feel like I'm going to see a lot more people flipping the Barracuda and doing things I've never seen before. And I always love to bring this up. Cutlery Lover on YouTube years ago made a comment in one of his ballad song videos, like, all the moves in ballad songs have all been done. You're never going to see anything more, because in the hundreds of years, people have had to have figured out all that stuff. And to that I say, I can't quite agree, because maybe everyone's done everything imaginable that can be done with a ballad song, but at the same time, I feel like I see someone do something new every once in a while, and it's just impressive. And I'm not talking about just tricks. I'm talking about, like, completely different ways to manipulate the ballad song. Like, not just different ways of stringing moves together, but just, like, entirely new ways of manipulating the ballad song. Like, the way that people do the choker fan on the backhand like this is just, like, I don't know how people do that, where they have the blade and the handle kind of like this, and they're doing not a choker fan, but they're just doing a backhand fan or whatever it's called. Like, I can't do that. I mean, I think that comment was made even before the choker fan was really common. And the choker fan is one of those moves that just kind of is completely different from anything that ever existed out there. And whenever I saw that, I was like, there's just no way that we've figured it all out. And this is the kind of ballad song that people push the limits with. You got your ballad songs like this, and then your performers like the Alpha Beast that are rear heavy, that are more specialized and more minute technical small things and a different style. But I don't know, the way I look at it is, in the world of BBBarfly, this is your replicant and this is your Alpha Beast, and I wouldn't really say that there's a comparison for the bare bones, but I would say that this kind of is in my mind like a replicant is. It's not neutral like a replicant. And people used to have those fly tie 51s, and people would say, oh, they're floaty, they're neutral. But they weren't like floaty neutral like a Tachyon was. And even all of those choices are still handle heavy neutral, because you can have handle heavy neutral and it not be true float neutral, like what I consider. So this is a prime example of full equal distribution neutral. It floats. The handles don't feel any heavier than the blade, and it's not blade heavy. I mean, like, if people try to say, oh, look, here's the balance on a ballad song, it really doesn't say all that much, because it's just, and I will say that the center of balance is further up towards the blade on this ballad song than a lot of them. I mean, if you want to compare that to the Superfly, I mean, it doesn't look that much different, but even a millimeter makes a huge difference in how the ballad song interacts with you. But like a true, like, this is a neutral ballad song right here, the Firefly. This is neutral, but a handle heavy neutral. Now, there's nothing wrong with handle heavy neutral. It's just its own style. Handle heavy neutral has equal distribution of weight amongst the handles for the most part, with a little bit more at the end usually. But at the same time, the handles are still outweighing the blade by a pretty significant portion. And in this case, it has nothing to do with the material thickness and all that. It just has to do with the blade profile, blade shape. The fact that so much media is missing at the end, the blade is long, but at the same time, it's short. The blade could really be about up to here and be solid, and it would probably have the exact same flipping characteristics minus the physical footprint of the blade missing, which would change some things. Whoops. But yeah, and handle heavy neutral flippers are honestly good choices. I love them. I think a good example of that would honestly be the Bare Bones. The Bare Bones is a pretty neutral, handle-heavy balisong, just not like this. It's a little bit different. Your Fly Tie 51s, your Tachyons are a little more on the true neutral side, but then you have balisongs that are rear weight heavy, like the Pro V2. It's pretty carved out in the center of the handle, and it has weight at the very end, and that leads to a very very carried way of flipping, and it's something that I honestly really enjoy. That's my personal favorite type of flipper. A flipper like the Alpha Beast, or a flipper like the Superfly. It's just got weight at the end with an equal distribution amongst the handles. So it's not, I mean, really, I take that back. So it's got a bunch of missing weight down the center of the handle, and then at the very end, it's solid, and there's weights at the end. There's spacers that add weight. And in that style of balisong, it just carries really well. It's really smooth. It's very easy to flip. It's a comfortable flipper. It's a Sunday ride on a Harley. That's how I look at it. Or a cruise in your Lexus. It's just smooth and it's comfortable, but you can still have a lot of fun with it for sure. And it'll do just about anything you tell it to do for the most part, as long as you don't try to do it too fast or with too much force. And then you got true neutral flippers like this that have the ability to just change direction on a whim. And I haven't been flipping that much, and my fingers are not what they were a few months ago. But I will say, this is very easy to flip in a lot of ways. It's a little different. I could see someone getting a balisong like the Barracuda V2 and being like, this flip's a little strange. But you got to get used to it, because not a lot of balisongs out there are true neutral where the weight is really just equally distributed. Like, it feels like the weight is just equally set upon like where my hand is spreading right now. It's just equally spread. Whereas on a balisong such as the Superfly, it's like you got more weight back here really, and then you got some weight up here. And that's really what it is, in my opinion. And something I do love is that that's the style change from tang pins to Zen pins. Now, you all know that I prefer tang pins. It's just my thing. I like tang pins. It's just the way I roll. But I do love me some good Zen pins. I will not lie. And these Zen pins are very nice. These are not removable Zen pins, but they are adjustable. Not adjustable, which is what makes them, at least I don't think they're adjustable. They're different from the Superfly being sandwich construction, because it's just held in place between, there's divots on each side of the inside of the handle, and it's just held in by the handles being pressed up against each other and fitting in the slot. On this, it's a non-adjustable style, kind of like a squid product. But I do like it, and it's very comfortable to flip. Oh, that was a good bounce right there, and it didn't even like bounce out of control or anything. I mean, the machining alone on these is enough for me to want to buy one. It's just they look so nice. I'd love to have one of these just sitting on my wall as like on a shelf, just like as a conversation piece. Like, what is that thing? It's like, oh, this is like the coolest bottle opener you've ever seen, man. It's a bottle opener that you can do balisong manipulation with. And while I'm not good at it at the moment, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, as far as things that are to be said in this video, I think that about covers it. I'll try to make a video talking about more so me in general, but I wanted to keep this video on topic about the Barracuda V2, because I've been really slacking on getting a video uploaded, and it needed to get done. So with that being said, I highly recommend the Barracuda. I mean, I don't think there's a product made by BBBarfly bottle openers that I could not recommend. It's all quality across the board. I mean, you can always get a hold of the man and tell him what's going on with it. And while that is true for a lot of companies, It's always good. It's so much better than a company like BRS or, I mean, even Benchmade. They aren't on the same personable level. Whereas it feels to me, I don't know if I get any different treatment than anyone else because I review these, but it's very easy for me to get in contact just through like an Instagram message or through an email. It's very straightforward. And the man always posts on Instagram videos of people flipping these things. So if you get one of them, you'll get featured on his Instagram if you post some good flipping going on. And just tag him, and usually uploads people. He just links to people's posts in the story and all that. It's always fun to see. It's what reminds me I have to make a video about these. But yeah, I love the Barracuda. Honestly, I'm gonna start flipping more often again. I do not want to become the next Calvin Nation that disappears off of YouTube just because I lose a lack of interest or anything. But anyways, I'll talk about myself more later in another video because there's a lot to talk about. A lot has changed. A lot to talk about. So anyways, I hope you'll have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching. Go buy yourself a Barracuda V2 or get someone one for Christmas with the holiday season coming up. And with that being said, I hope you'll have a great day and goodbye.